Alright, hello guys, this is Shaken from Roxxare, and I'm going to be doing a replay analysis on a Yasuo match, which is something which is really close to home, for me at least, because I used to be an incredibly well-known Yasuo player, and, well, incredibly well-known, definitely one of the best in EU, and I've recently been starting to play Yasuo again after about a year break, and it's something which I used to do a lot of analysis on, and I got a lot of people, requesting for me to help them out and stuff like that, and that means that I can probably go a little bit more in depth into this game. If we have a look over here, though, we can see that he has submitted a match where not only has he won, he's won by a considerable amount in a 5v5 blind pick game, which means that there's limited amounts of analysis that I can do in terms of positives and stuff like that. But if I highlight mainly negatives and areas for improvement, which is what I'm assuming he's submitting a match for, because otherwise it's just going to be him trying to boast when there are a lot of already out-of-game preliminary issues that I can see going into this. If we have a look, he's got a decent win rate on Yasuo over a relatively low amount of games. He has a decent KDA and a little bit below average CS. But if you also see, he's in Silver 5, so that's the kind of area that we're dealing with right now. And looking at his matches, he honestly does a pretty good job. If we can see here, he's done a pretty good job in terms of snowballing his lane, but it doesn't appear that he's done much in terms of the rest of the map. But again, this will be kind of gone into further when we're actually looking at the replay. Other things to look at, the fact that both of these Yasuos, it's going to be a mirror match top lane. Both of them have went for Warlord's Bloodlust, and both of them went for Ignite. Both of these things are incorrect. If you're going for a lifesteal item, or a lifesteal keystone, pardon, Grasp of Undying is better, especially if you're going for a build which revolves around PD, Frozen Mallet, and stuff like that. This build's a weird mismatch of both a Bruiser build and the normal crit build. And Bruiser Yasuo has been phased out a little bit, but it's still really good. But Warlord's Bloodlust is not the way to go. I did a video which, if people are interested in, I can put in the comments at some point, going over why Fervor Battle is incrementally better than Warlord's Bloodlust on Yasuo. And the kind of emphasis on that point is that you have more effective damage if you go further than Warlords, for the amount that Warlords will be able to keep you alive. Yasuo should be building Doran's Blades, etc. in lane to be able to keep them up in sustain-wise, and Warlord's Bloodlust really isn't going to do anything like that. The only situation in which I'd say Warlord's Bloodlust is okay is if you're going the traditional crit build, but don't really have the chance to buy a lifesteal item until, let's say, Sick Fighting, which is a very rare occurrence, and in almost every single one of those situations, you'd be better off going with Fervor Battle on the crit build for Yasuo. With that said, both Yasuos appear to have gone for that. And other than that, the compositions for both teams looking a little bit more early game focused, but again, this is a normal game, it's not that serious, it's a mirror match, there's very limited analysis that I can really go into on this. But if we go over to the replay now, and we make sure that we're on the right Yasuo this time, because I've actually done a bit of this once, but I was on the wrong Yasuo, so that's always something a little bit interesting. But just to kind of highlight that this is very much so a normal game. Go into the game, you can see here, normal stuff happening. It appears that the enemy Yasuo hasn't bought items, but then it randomly buys them from there, which is interesting. But if you see here, he tells the enemy Yasuo, press D to dance, and two of the enemy team members use their flash. And honestly, not quite sure what we can really make of this. But at the end of the day, it's just a normal game. It's not that serious, and I still don't know what to make of that. As you can see here, the enemy Yasuo and the enemy Fizz both use their flash level 1, which is, interesting. I've never actually seen that work out before. And afterwards, we see both of the Yasuos having a little bit of a talk, but more importantly, this Yasuo player decides to go into the top lane brush and cheese instead of, there are so many places where you should be right now, and that's annoying. Just go onto there. Onto there. There we go. No, it's still not going the way I wanted to. Alright, that's it. Get that out of the way. Alright, there we go. And instead of going over to here, and you'll see that this actually ends up working out here, but he should have been standing rather here, or gone for a bit of an aggressive take on these so you can get level 2 and cheese Yasuo because it's a mirror matchup. The person who gets level 2 is inevitably going to get, you know, the advantage in the laning phase. So you're having a look here. There's that. Those two spots where you should be sitting. But for some reason, this Yasuo wants to go for a level 1 cheese, which is interesting. But it actually, as you're about to see, does end up working out, which, again, is interesting. So as you can see here, the enemy Yasuo goes into this brush for no real reason instead of, you know, looking at jungle spots. But actually no, it was the other way around. So right here, he manages to lose the 1v1, which is a little bit ridiculous, because why were they doing the 1v1 in the first place? Like, you could have been here. Again, just gonna tab out, grab this. You could have been over here, you could have been there. You could have been taking those, or at least taking the little ones there so you can get level 2 early. But instead you decided to fight level 1 in that situation, which you shouldn't have lost, because he was flashed down. I haven't got access to, like, runes and masteries for this match right now, but there was no reason for you to die here, like, whatsoever. There are so many other things that you could have been doing, and if I was to just go into, like, macro analysis of what went wrong in that fight, because I'm sure that's something which you'd be curious about. But you get off the first Q in the first auto attack. You should win this fight, there is no doubt in my mind. But what you didn't do is you didn't pop your potion early and you didn't ignite him early enough. Because of that, his Warlord's Bloodlust healing is considerably higher, and you lose first blood for literally no reason in this lane matchup. It's something which at least has annoyed me a little bit, the fact that you really shouldn't have lost first blood here. But at the same time, what can be done about it? There's really not much to say. So if we speed up, go into the lane here. You're coming from behind, and things are analysed of the fact that he hasn't backed off. He hasn't gone back with the first blood gold. So if you have a look, he has 500 gold there that he could have easily put into Brawler's Gloves, a Cull, anything to make this laning phase completely in his favour and been back at the exact same time as you. Instead, he's stuck around. He's gotten a wave, which he missed almost all of it, and he's managed to get a level advantage of 1 level over you, which is fairly considerable, especially in the Yasuo matchup. So right here, you should be completely screwed. Like, you should be completely screwed. The only way in which you're not screwed is if the Yasuo keeps on aggressively shoving lane waves into you and plays the matchup poorly. But at this point in time, you really should be kind of behind as hell. And right here, you're probably going to want to freeze as hard as possible, but instead you're using your Qs to reshove the lane, which isn't that smart, seeing as both sides of the jungle. Wait, there's 2 Teemos in this game as well, one of which is Teemo jungle, brilliant. But right here, I've already seen this part before. Basically, their Yasuo plays like a complete retard, ease aggressively into the wave, which allows you to get a free kill. Right here, he could have just walked off as well, but a few issues there. One, you walked way too far away to try and avoid his tornado, still get hit by it. That was a mistake. 2, it depends on what you do here, but the thing is that there was no reason for him to do that. You've just been given a lead from a bad situation. Like, that was nothing to do with you playing well, which is something that you really need to consider for the future of things. Right here, you should be EQ spamming, like, on the back wave so that your caster creeps can start to shove in on the minions. And you've done it in a decently fast fashion. You know, you could have done it a bit faster. And here, you should go and proxy the next wave. Nice. I think you're doing that. But their Yasuo at this point has taken a lot longer in spawn than he should have, which has given you ample chance to be able to deny not just 1 but 2 creep waves from him, which is really, really quite good. And as a result of that, if you have a look now, you are a level up on their Yasuo, and you have a whole, like, almost 10 creeps on their Yasuo, on top of the fact that he has first blood. You're pretty much going to be nearly even now. Yeah, you're even ahead of their Yasuo at this point, just because of the fact that he didn't do correct creep management, and as a result of that, you've gotten a lead. But you're doing the exact same issue that the last Yasuo was. You have 821 gold available to you. There's no way you're going to be catching this wave. That turret damage doesn't matter. So, if we're honest here, you should go back, spend your money, and come back with a Brawler's Gloves, boots, and a couple more potions and a pink ward, especially because of the fact that you're pushing to here right now, with no vision on the jungler. The jungler at 3 minutes 28 should have already done, well, he did a full clear, so that's why he isn't quite ready yet, but he should be here. He should be ready to gank you, and there's no way you're winning a 1v1 against Yasuo, against Lee Sin as Yasuo. I would be curious as to know if you even had taken your wind wall yet, because if you have, that's kind of a misplay in the lane, but at the same time it would save your ass against the Yasuo gank. So we'll just see how this plays out. You carry on pushing, you are now in a position where you're going to be ganked by the Lee Sin. And there was really no reason, but the Yasuo is complaining about, you know, mouse lag here, and instead of Eing onto that creep and ultimately killing you, he decides to go back and start farming again, which is a complete waste. But you should have died there, basically, is what I'm saying. If the enemies hadn't misplayed, you would have died there, and you would have lost a considerable lead. You're sticking around now, which you shouldn't, I don't think. You should take this wave, for sure, and then just insta-back, because otherwise you're sitting on so much gold that you could be spending. And look at the... If you have a look at the differences between your HP just there, you have 1 level on him, but you are, yeah, about 200 HP down on a Yasuo. And in that kind of situation, there is no way that you're going to win this 1v1, except the fact that the Yasuo has taken Wind Wall and is going to apparently micro-misplay this really badly. And it's just looking at stuff like this, where the Yasuo, the enemy Yasuo is really misplaying, and you're able to punish that. It's not so much you being able to punish that, it's him not doing anything to punish your mistakes, because you're doing a lot of mistakes in this laning phase right now. And after this wave, you really need to back, because if you get ganked by Lee Sin, which you still have absolutely no vision on, you'd be completely screwed, but they're letting you get away with this for absolute free, and it wouldn't surprise me here if they misplay to the point where you get a kill. Like that. And just knowing this, if we have a look at the items now, you've got a lot of gold to spend, and let's just make sure you spend this money correctly. You buy Zeo boots, brilliant. This is something which a lot of Yasuos really struggle with, is early game optimization. A lot of Yasuos there would have bought a BF sword or something of that sort. Terrible idea. Instead you bought a Zeo, which is the best item on Yasuo indisputably in the early game, or in the game generally. In terms of gold efficiency, it is incredibly good. You get the 5% movement speed, which makes your E incredibly efficient, and it's so much better than without boots and without Zeo. Your E is all of a sudden so much more strong than the opposing Yasuo's E. And on top of that, you have 40% crit chance and 15% attack speed. And if I'm correct, here is where he carries on flaming about his mouse being broken, goes AFK for a few minutes, and then comes back and does a huge mistake. So here, you get loads of free XP, you get loads of free tower damage, you get loads of free creeps, and you also took 4 tower shots there, which has meant you have to back, which is bad, because you literally can't buy anything. Go back, buy a pink ward, buy a dagger, then you'll be fine. But I wouldn't stick around in this situation. But their Yasuo has decided to buy a Curseek Shard, which gives you the same amount of stats as a dagger, for 750 gold, when he could have bought it into a Zeal. And now he has no Zeal, no boots, no movement speed stat for his E to scale off of, and he has literally 10% crit as opposed to your 40. 20% crit, pardon, to your 40, and he is going to be completely screwed here, just based off of his itemization. And here, you do go back, you do buy the dagger, you've got enough for a pink, but you don't buy the pink, which is a mistake. I haven't actually seen you ward once this entire game, so that's something to work on. Get a free kill on the Yasuo. I'm speeding this up because this is exactly how this should go. It's nothing to do with you at this point, it's to do with him itemizing poorly. Makes a couple of misplays. Here is something that I should probably analyze, though, is why you got yourself killed here. So, right here, get a tower for free. The Yasuo's behind you, the Lee Sin's behind you. You have 0 wards to be able to tell you that he's coming. You're sticking around, going aggressive after you got that tower. You should... I would have cleared the wave as well, if I'm honest, but the main issue is that you have no vision on Lee Sin, but also no wards. So let's just watch how you play this. You auto attack. You probably shouldn't have walked towards their Yasuo. You probably should have carried on running. And right here, you should be dead. Yeah, and the Lee Sin could have kicked you a lot sooner than that to kill you. The Yasuo... yeah, apparently hadn't even spec'd his ult, so you would have been even more dead in those situations. So just make sure you're watching your positioning, get some wards down early, and start playing a little bit more macro efficiently, because you've won your lane matchup. That's good. You're doing a good job in terms of your lane matchup. But you've just thrown away a bit of a lead that you didn't have to, because if you look now, you'll still have a considerable lead. And if you look at the goal totals, your team is still behind, though, because you're getting rocked everywhere else. And you really need to start thinking about that and playing around the fact that your team isn't doing too hot. So shove this Yasuo in and then go rotate mid. That's literally all you've got to do at this point to extend your lead a little bit further. You've gone for PD first, which means you have an insane advantage over this guy. You have 60% crit. insane movement speed over him because of Berserker Greaves and PD, which means your E is so much better than his. He's got no boots, so you can just run him down here. I'm assuming you get a kill here. If you don't, there's a real issue. And you've gone for PD Berserker Greaves. Perfectly fine build. There are people, including myself, who prefer Merc Treads and Tabbies on Yasuo, but it already comes down to playstyle. Based on the fact that you're going Berserker Greaves, you should be going full crit build Yasuo and full late game scaling Yasuo. Let's see how you play this here. You let their Yasuo walk it out for no reason. That was a free kill. You could have gotten that and then shoved the lane in. So that's a little bit of a misplay there. You still have absolutely no wards. But it would appear that you are indeed going to shove. And instead of going to help mid, even though mid managed to pick up a kill, you could pick up the mid turret here. You carry on pushing. And as a result of that, your teammates are getting kind of boned. And you're going to be a free gank for Lee Sin in a second. Yasuo misplays and he gets himself killed, but you get picked up by the Lee Sin. Exactly how that should happen. Judging by your mechanics, they're not great, but they're not terrible, so they're not what you need to work on. It's more your macro efficiency. You build a Cloak of Agility here. I would have done the same. 100% crit chance is lovely. Some people would prefer to go Pickaxe, and it's arguable, but I think that you get more overall damage from going Cloak of Agility, and you get to measure your damage more easily. Here you get picked off because you go to aggressive again with no wards, which ends with them getting a free Infernal Drake, and your teammates get picked off here, and all sort of a lead that your team had is now gone and you're now behind. So you really need to start thinking about where you're going, what you're doing, and how to turn this lead you've got into a victory, because at the moment all you're doing is shoving it down one lane and getting yourself killed. The rest of your teammates, however, are getting picked off. Should get a free tower here, there's no one to defend, but again, you really have to consider the fact that a lot of your teammates are dying as a result. And here, nope, you just die for free because you go too aggressive with no wards, no vision, and it's I'm not going to say embarrassing, but it's really stupid that you keep on making the same mistake. You went from being 4-1, I think it was, maybe even 5-1, to 5-5, which you don't need to. The only reason you're dying here is because you keep on shoving down a lane with no vision, buying no pink wards, and not doing rotations to help get down these two towers when... You have to think about it like this. Areas of pressure. You taking that first top tower means that your teammates have all of the... Okay, it's better if I just go over to the pen here. It means your teammates have all of that pressure. That's yours. That is now your area of pressure. You get wards down, that's even more so your area of pressure. But you keep on overextending to places like here, going for the first tower, second tower, pardon, and that's gotten you killed 3 times now. And after getting that one tower, you could have just backed. You could have just backed off, rotated mid, rotated bot, help them deal with this, help them get the mid lane tower, and that would have been fine. But instead you overextended, stayed too long, and got punished. And there really is no reason for you to be throwing away your lead like this. And stuff like this, which really sets apart good Yasuos from bad Yasuos, is any Yasuo can win a 1v1 matchup against any champion. That's a given. But it's what you do with the lead that you're going to get that'll really mean anything, because Yasuo spikes harder than any other champion in the mid game, undisputedly, because of his crit. But you're just wasting it. That's all you're doing. You're just wasting it, and it's really quite upsetting because look at their Yasuo score now. We both saw, I'm sure we both agree, that their Yasuo played disgracefully bad. He might call it, you know, the fault of his mouse lagging or something like that, but he played disgracefully bad. You didn't play that badly, you did a few macro issues, but now his score's almost on the same level as yours, and I personally wouldn't be happy with that at all. So, bless me. Things to think about right now. There are only really 2 things to think about. Wards and macro play. For instance, rotations, knowing how to extend your lead, how to turn it into, you know, positives for your team. Because at the moment, you've gotten yourself a lead, but everywhere else on the map is completely in turmoil, and you're doing nothing to solve that. So your lead means nothing. Because, you know, 1/3 of the map's winning. That's great. You need the rest of the map to be winning for you to be able to win the game. And that's really what you got to be thinking about in all games of League of Legends. You know, I'm doing well. How can I make me playing well into the team winning? So here, again, you spawn, everything looks fine, your build path's fine, everything's good. Could do with some pink wards. Go aggressive here, should pick up 2 free kills. Nice, nice. Mechanically, fairly decent. Teemo rotation's a bit weird, but here, you're pushing top lane for no reason. Go mid with the Teemo and pick up the mid lane tower. You're not going to be able to safely pick up an inhibitor tower, especially with 0 wards still to this point. You get a kill here, then you die to the Fizz. For no reason. There is no reason. You could have rotated mid and extended that lead into being a mid lane tower. Instead, now your teammates are being picked off and everything's going to shit. Just purely on the basis that you're not doing anything with your lead. Here, first itemization mistake. Don't go for a BF sword. There's no need for you to go for a BF sword. In this situation, there's only 2 items which you really want to be going for. If you're going bruiser build, then power to you, pick up a Randuin's. They've got a Yasuo, they've got a Teemo, they've got a Fizz. It's a really good item versus their team, and a Randuin's would be great. If you're not going bruiser build, you're going crit build, then again, more power to you. I would probably go Death Stance in this situation because it's a nice lifesteal item, and it, in combination with Phantom Dancer, the amount of lifesteal and damage mitigation that it'll give you is absolutely insane. So that would definitely be the lifesteal item of choice that I would want to see you going. Bloodthirst is okay, but it's nowhere near as good as Death Stance, especially not when you have the Phantom Dancer. If you had a Shiv, it would be arguable that you definitely should go for, the Bloodthirster, but you don't. And once again, instead of moving anywhere else, you just decide to keep on pushing in the top lane, which you might even end up getting a tower here, but you will die. There is no doubt in my mind that you are going to end up... No? Okay. Again, micro misplay on their point, not really a positive on your part. They did a mistake, you did a mistake, but for some reason they're allowing you to make these mistakes, and it really shouldn't be. In any sort of a higher tier game, you would be punished so hard for repeatedly running it down top like that. Like, you wouldn't be ahead anymore, you'd be considerably behind. And instead of rotating mid here, you go back to pick up a Parent Scepter and a Longsword, where you could be, mid lane, pushing, helping your team. And now this is the second rotation that you've done. And it's nice to see you somewhere other than top right now. And, yep, there you go. You die for free, which, again, is more of a problem with your positioning. You have no wards, you have no vision on where the enemies are. Should be in a lane, really pushing with your teammates, but instead you're running around in the jungle. But you've now got Bloodthirster. Again, not what I would go for, but not too criticizable. It's pretty good. You probably could have went for a GA or something like that, especially with the aggressive style that you're playing, and been a little bit better off, though. But... with that said, you're playing an aggressive style of Yasuo with Warlord's Bloodlust. Third item, Bloodthirster, isn't very good. If you've got Warlords, that's your exemption of buying a lifesteal item. That means you can play Yasuo without having to buy a lifesteal item until like 5th or 6th item, which means you get so many more spikes early on. You could buy like a Yomu's, you could buy all sorts of items, or even a Triforce. For the amount that you could have gotten that Bloodthirster, you could buy a Triforce. Triforce is still a really good item on Yasuo. The cooldown reduction stat is completely useless, but the hypercarry style of Yasuo that we're seeing at the moment still loves Triforce, and if you have 3600 gold lying around like you do for this Bloodthirster, you should go for Triforce. Triforce is an amazing item still on Yasuo. With that said, you went for a Bloodthirster, so now you should be nigh unkillable. And right here, you suicide though, again, no vision. As an analogy, right, hi, this is you. This is you. You're Yasuo right here. So I'll give you some wavy hair. And this is a wall. Now this wall, you're running at it, right? You want to see, can I beat this wall? And instead, all that's actually happened is you've ran into this wall and you fell over and you look like a dumbass because you can't just run into this wall and have it fall over. You're not strong enough yet. But instead, you're just going to keep on running into this wall until your teammates are no longer in the lead of the game and you're in a position where they can't, they could potentially not win this game. And it's something which really shouldn't happen, but it's after the last 5 deaths, you really should have started to realize that we need vision. I need to buy pink wards, I need to tell my team to buy pink wards, and we need to start doing rotations properly. If you take the mid lane tower, then we already have the bot lane tower and that tower, and all of a sudden, your pressure is all of that. The only places where they can viably be are this part of their jungle, and if you keep this area warded up, even more so, they can't do anything. That means you have Dragon control, you have Baron control, and there is literally nothing you can do. With that pressure, you'll be able to keep on pushing it down mid, and you'll be able to win the game just from them, they're going to end up making mistakes, getting called out from the insane amount of pressure that's being put on. But instead, you've given them for the last 14 minutes just free reign to do whatever they want whilst you push top or you run your ass down here and you just run at a wall. And it's something which you really shouldn't be doing. You need to focus more on your rotations and being in the right place at the right time. With that said, at least your lane mechanics aren't terrible. So here, again, you just start running it down. And towards the later fights, I'm going to start doing a little bit of analysis on your actual micro and fights. Team Mo misplayed there, shouldn't have turned back around. You're going to die here though for sure. And that was because you overstayed a little bit. And there's nothing that can really be done about that. I would have probably done the exact same thing, knowing my overly aggressive tendencies as well. The Yasuo here decides to suicide, and probably turn it into a double. No, he flashes out though. Should be able to turn this into a really nice little lead for his team. They should be able to push down mid and get the mid tower for this. And Yasuo really should have been body blocking, but that makes no difference. They should be able to get a mid lane tower from this. If they don't, they're doing something wrong. Nope. Instead, they all decide to back instead. Which, again, is a misplay on their part. The only reason you're still in this game, and I'm 100% certain in saying this, is because the enemy team are making mistakes as well, because this is a normal game, this is a silver match. You know, if this was any sort of a better tier, better area of players, you would have been completely screwed. You didn't use your ult there in that fight, not sure why not. But, again, works out for you. Keep on running it down top. Get a free inhib. Nice, nice. I would have done that as well, by the way. Even though you still haven't got that mid lane tower down, I would have carried on doing that after you kill the Yasuo. Pick up yet another free kill on the Yasuo. The Yasuo is itemized even more poorly than you have. And there you go. Pick up a nice little triple mid. And from this point onwards, it looks like their mistakes are just going to be done repeatedly. And you're just going to be able to pick up kill after kill after kill after kill after kill because they keep on running at you one by one. Right, more mistakes to point out quickly. Okay, so the first thing that I want to point out... Why is it not stopping? Anyway, here we go. The first things I want to point out are... Okay, I've broken the replay by fast-forwarding it. Whoops. But the first thing I want to point out here is there's no need for you to buy a Ravenous Hydra. You have Warlords, you already have a lifesteal item. You're better off with a GA or something more aggressive like a Triforce. And there's no need for Frozen Mallet. If you're going for Frozen Mallet, you can pick up an armor-related item. Frozen Mallet really isn't that good on Yasuo. Lo and behold, there are better bruiser items that you could go, such as Deadmans versus their team, Randuin's versus their team. Instead, you've ended up effectively wasting that slot on a Frozen Mallet, in my opinion. And you've got a lifesteal. You've got so much lifesteal that you don't need. You're not going to be in any sort of a situation where you're in a sustained fight versus that team. It's going to be over in an instant. In which situation, there's no need for you to have those items, especially if Ravenous Hydra doesn't have very positive synergy with Yasuo's kit. So those are, again, some more micro mistakes that you should be working on, but you're not going to be punished for because their team keeps on doing basically what you were doing earlier. Instead of like grouping up, dealing with stuff and, collapsing on you, all they did was run at you one by one, and that means that you can just free kill them because there is no way that you'll lose a 1v1 to any of their champions. And because of that, it looks like you're probably going to have snowballed that into a victory, which, power to you, well played. You snowballed them misplaying into a victory. That's a very good thing to have. But you're not going to be able to rely on enemy teams making mistakes so consistently, so you're really going to be wanting to work on your macro play, knowing how to win games, because with a playstyle like this, you'll end up flip-flopping, maybe getting a 50% win rate, if that, which is actually highlighted in your OP.GG, where you have a less than 50% win rate. Judging by this, I would assume that you're a player which doesn't have much understanding of where to rotate, how to rotate, warding, and lane mechanics, such as minion wave control and pressure mechanics and stuff like that. So there's a lot that I would love to talk to you about, like on a one-on-one session. I would absolutely love to talk to you because I'm sure you have lots of complaints and lots of questions based on this analysis, but that's the kind of lowdown and the fall down of replay analysis, that I can only analyze what I can see. I can't have a one-on-one with you, I can't discuss stuff with you, I can't have a conversation with you, because I can guarantee after this game there's going to be a lot of stuff which you disagree with me on, and I would be able to justify and explain to you. But if you're interested in having a one-on-one session with me, just shoot me a PM, or try and get a hold of me. I've got my Skype on the site, leave a comment on the video, anything of the sort, and I'll get back to you. So, also, if you have a look, if you have like general look around, at the end of the game, main things to mention are warding, rotations, itemization, and preliminary changes, such as runes, masteries. But again, I don't have access to those, so I can't really talk to about anything other than the Warlord's Bloodlust, which if you're going for a build like this, where you have lifesteal, you're going to want to be going for Fervor, and generally speaking, if you want the lifesteal alternative, you go Bruiser build and go Grasp, because you've got two of the Grasp items. So there are a few mistakes, but all in all, You're a decent player to a point. You have okay one-on-one mechanical skill, but that will not be enough to carry you through, especially not with Yasuo in the higher tiers, and not inside of a normal game where we have two teamers, mirror match up top lane, a Yasuo that says his mouse isn't working and is effectively trolling and has gone for a really inefficient build path. I'm not sure if this is the new craze in Silver, going double lifesteal item, Warlords, Yasuo with Ravenous Hydra, but either way, I'd be interested in talking to you in the future, and I hope you guys enjoyed this replay analysis. Tried to keep it short and snappy because the last one was a little bit drawn out. So again, this is Shaken from Roxxare. Hope I talk to you guys soon, and I'll see you guys later.